Didn't
Am
get
I
the
allowed to get like catastrophically wasted on this podcast?
sure.
Okay.
It's encouraged
Okay.
sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when you watch
Sometimes.
porn.
What?
Ron reviewed porn at one point.
What?
Yeah, I thought it was like a 50s sci-fi movie, and it was not.
It was Skinemax.
Skinemax is not porn though. That's soft.
It's a Lorno, light porno.
Okay.
That's a term used in a movie with Ryan Reynolds. He's like, this is my Raging Bull action scene, or at my Raging Bull like moment where my career goes off, and like you see him in the next set or whatever, and he's doing a Lorno. Like that's his Raging Bull moment. Go into a Lorno. You got a joint, Ron?
I do, but I lost my lighter.
I'm surprised you don't want like every corner like inch of your house.
Well, I just showered, so I think they all came out of my pockets in the bathroom, and I'll have to find matches.
So, is there any interest in anybody watching me try to pull this weed pipe out of a stop?
Oh, let's say out of a hat? Watch me pull this out of a hat.
I got it. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Nice. Well, yeah, are we ready to fire this up then?
Yeah, I'm
Good to
ready.
go.
All right, well, here we go.
Greetings, listeners. Does this sound like you? You don't know what to watch next? Mindlessly scrolling down one streaming service, then another, and another, only to end up watching the same episodes of The Office you've seen 1,000 times? Not to worry. We here at the Half-Ass Podcast Network got you covered. Because we also know what the fuck we're watching next. Our next movie is always a mystery, always unknown, it's always to be determined. That's right, we let Tubi determine what we watch next, and you should too. So pour your beverages, pop your popcorn, and come along on a journey with us where our destinations are always to be determined. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of To Be Determined. I am your host, the J-Man in it. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Drinks of Ron. Ron, what are we sipping / smoking on the night?
Well, this is actually this hand rolled beauty right here is rolled with root beer flavored papers. So we'll go with that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, not bad.
And what weed strain would this be? Would this be Willie Nelson's ball sack or?
I'm not even sure the name of this, but it does the job. So I'll call it Old Faithful.
What was the first name? Was it Billy or whatever?
Billy? Yeah.
It's Billy. He gets the job. It's Billy. He gets the job done. But we are here to review some movies, and this is a little unorthodox for us. We're going back-to-back guests here, and Ron, we got him. We nailed this guy down. I know he's been trying to do a music episode with you for over a year, but we got him. I thought you were hitting a sounder. There it is.
Yeah.
Another member of the OSC, Yikes Mountain. What's going on, man?
Hey. How are you guys? Oh,
Pretty
Ron's good.
Fantastic.
I'm good.
We're doing great.
I am sorry. I am always the last guy to the party. That's why I sometimes think I'm French. Wait a minute. Is that right? Last person to the party is French, or last person to leave? Oh, French. Okay. Anyway, I don't know.
Culture appropriation. Cut that.
But I'm honored to be here. This pod is super great. Probably the best named podcast I've been on in my life.
So
It's up
good.
there
say
for
that.
sure.
Yeah. I love that you said it's up there for sure, because you probably named it, right?
Again, I have to give Hash the credit for that.
Okay. But I am I'm super happy to be here. I said this last night on the Discord. Anytime I can spend with you people, is valuable time. So,
Hell yeah, brother. And Ron, I believe you're going first. And again, we will be doing again the... Okay, Ron's dying over here.
Yeah.
is Ron okay?
Probably not a great idea to smoke a joint right before I read a 4-page review. This should go well.
All right. Well, again, what we like to do here is the guest sandwich. One of the hosts goes.
You have
and
a
then
4-page
guest.
review of the movie you're doing?
Yeah, first hour or so, yeah.
He's got,
Wow.
but he does, and his analog notes. That's all written
yeah.
down.
That's
Okay,
That's
I
not
have
typed
a
up, double
different
space,
approach.
anything. That's
Yeah,
handwritten notes.
Okay.
But yeah, guest sandwich. Ron will go first this time. Then Yikes will go with his movie, and then I will bring up the rear and do my movie. And again, the pre-show banter. I don't remember the fuck you got last time, Ron. So this is gonna be a mystery to us all.
Oh, well, that's great because you know what? I think I'm excited. I want to get in there. I'm just gonna get my ticket now. We're gonna head on in because this thing, I never actually seen it. I saw the sequel. I think the sequel came out in like '87, and I remember it being on TV all the time, and me and my friends watching it. We didn't even realize it was a sequel at that point. So I'm finally watching the original, 35 years later. But this one's called They Call Me Bruce.
He wanted to be just like Bruce Lee. So he tried his hand at fighting criminals and learned to live like a great samurai master.
Howdy, boss.
You must know Kung Fu.
Oh, yeah, I once stepped in it.
Finally, the superhero America's been waiting for.
Hi, Bruce.
No, Bruce.
They Call Me Bruce, rated PG.
And if you catch that at the end there, they do a little Asian twist on Staying Alive, which is... So, yeah, they... Tubi lists this, says this movie is a Korean man who's often mistaken for Bruce Lee, becomes a local hero after stopping a robbery and finds himself viewed in an unfamiliar light. So, let's get to it. Ooh-wee. All right, so we open with a credit sequence, and it has a banger of a song. The song's actually called Oriental Boy, and you know what? There's really just no way I could do it justice, so I'm not even going to try to describe it to you. So, this opening sequence, we have young Bruce is running, just like it says in the song, and it turns out he's running to his grandfather's deathbed, where he imparts the words of wisdom: money is not the most important thing in life. The most important thing is broads. So, now you know where this movie's headed. So then he tells Bruce that Bruce, in air quotes, that he needs to go to America because in New York he fell in love with the most beautiful lady, and if she's still there, she will take care of him. So, cut to the future. Bruce is working for a bunch of Italian dudes who call him Bruce. But boss, my name is June. Why do you call me Bruce? He says. And he says, I'm the boss, so if I call you Bruce, you're Bruce. Besides, you all look the same. Ah, it's true, says one guy. Delightful. It's totally okay that he does that, because this group of mobsters is actually a more egregious stereotype than anything they do with Bruce throughout this movie. So next we have a mob coke deal broken up by a guy doing kung fu, and I'll use air quotes there because that's repeatedly what they call it. So now we go back to a meeting with our stereotypical mobsters, who are so over the top stereotypes that they really make all the bad Asian jokes seem totally fine. Because how bad are they, you ask? One mobster's solution to having their deals repeatedly busted is to buy bulletproof loafers And another guy says, I have an original idea. Let's make him an offer he can't refuse. So,
That's everything you said before.
Right. So, I mean, they're not even trying with these mobsters. So, like I said, it doesn't even feel racist because they're such bad caricatures. And it's like, oh, okay. So, these ideas are, of course, dumb. So here, on the speakerphone, the boss threatens them that they need to find a solution or he'll make them all into sushi. And then, for some reason, he pulls a fish out of the tank and eats it. In front of no one, because he is on the phone. So I don't know if they're supposed to know that he's eating a fish and be terrified, but that's what happens. So then the mobsters hear loud, aggressive shouting, and they run off with their guns drawn to go check it out. Turns out it's just Bruce making spaghetti. He then explains how China invented spaghetti, and that's where Italians got it. Which leads to one of Bruce's trademark jokes. What's the difference between Italian and Chinese food? $5 per person. So it's just those kind of jokes all throughout. He's like the befuddled foreigner mixing up phrases. But anyway, Bruce is now off to deliver noodles, and he comes up on a purse snatching. So he has to intervene, and he says, hey lady, give that guy back his purse. So again, so our robber turns his knife on Bruce, who goes into a series of generic kung fu threats. With this foot I can kick the knife. With this foot I kick your face. And he goes through the whole thing, and finally the guy's like, oh, I don't want any trouble, and runs away. So yeah, it's great. So then he continues with his delivery, which is at a bar, where a blonde girl immediately starts talking to him. What's your name, she says, and he says, they call me Bruce.
He said it!
And she says, like Bruce Lee, you must know kung fu. Well, clearly. So I'm glad you're here.
I mean, that's an obvious, right?
Yeah, they call you Bruce Lee because you're Asian. Clearly, Like he's not even, he's Korean. He says right in the beginning. He's not even,
because the people I know.
Michael Bolton? You must be a really big fan.
Celebrated.
Just because you're an Asian named Bruce, it doesn't just the race.
I just love that he just goes by it after that. Like
I love that too.
The boss says I'm Bruce, so I guess I'm
Bruce.
Yeah. He doesn't even say that's his name. He just says that's what people call me. They all call me that, so I guess I'm Bruce. I'm glad you're here because these guys over here scare her. And he says, I can take care of those guys with one hand. So, of course, as he brags up his skills, obviously the generic bar guys are walking up behind him and hear how tough he thinks he is. And he again tries his generic kung fu. With this foot, I kick your hand. And they're having none of it. And he basically says, I challenge you to a fight. So Bruce says, I got to go to John. Mexican beer. And then off he goes into the occupied woman's room where he paying no attention to the lady, basically tries to walk right over her to go out the window and escape the fight. So cowardly Bruce returns home and he vows to his Bruce Lee posters that he'll get strong and learn to fight. And then he daydreams about kicking the asses of everyone back at the bar. It says this glorious thing where he kills them all, and then he snaps back to reality and attacks his kitchen. The table, the chairs, smashes everything up pretty good. And then he says, with training and a proper diet, he could be as strong as Rocky. So you know what that means. He's got to crack open some eggs and drink those bastards. So he puts a few of them in a cup, and after one small drink says, egg foo young would be better. And then you can just get a tight shot of them dumping that into a wok. And he just starts, I don't know what the... So now he heads to get proper training. He goes to a karate class where he quickly proves unteachable and gets kicked out after destroying the studio. He tries to return the nunchucks that he had, but the guy is so mad he says, you keep them and go home and practice in your closet. So dejected Bruce, he skulks away, and he stops by the convenience store on his way home where he stumbles into a robbery. But thankfully he has the nunchucks, and he knocks out the robber right before he knocks himself out. So him and the robber are down. on the floor, and the police show up, and the clerk tells him everything that happened, and he's a hero. They put it in the paper. The mobsters see Bruce's heroism in the paper, and now their problem is solved. Hey, we have a new delivery guy, and he's a master of karate. Oh shit, Bruce, what have you just gotten into? So, cut back to the gangster house, hilariously guarded by a man in the tower with a bazooka. Just a nice little touch. You almost don't even notice him, but he's just up there fucking... It's tight. All right, guy with a bazooka. And they are packaging tons of blow as flour. But before we get there, Bruce is walking, and who should he pull up on, pulls up on him, but the girl from the bar. She saw his heroism in the paper as well, and wants to know if he has a girlfriend, and he says, I'm sex object. Every time I ask girl sex, she object. Bruce again, just...
I'm not gonna lie, it's actually a really good joke. I hate the fact it's such a good joke. I hate it.
And he does it with the broken English. He doesn't say I am a, he just I am sex object. Right. And yeah.
I hate that. That's a great dad joke.
Yeah. And as the befuddled foreigner, he really nails it. So so she gives him a necklace, which we find out is actually a bug because she is an agent. She says, and this great line to end this scene, she says, as long as he wears this necklace, she won't have sex with another man. And Bruce says, yeah, me neither. Bruce is just fucking killing him as he goes through this movie. All right.
Bruce just being hetero.
Yeah, right. Totally hetero Bruce.
Hetero Bruce.
So they, the mobsters now inform Bruce that they are sending him to New York. His dream has come true. He wants to know how long it's going to take to fly there, but like, oh, Bruce, we can't fly. You don't get to see the country that way. You got to drive. And you're going to stop in all these cities and deliver flour to all of our customers. So giant, I don't know, 20-pound fucking tight-wrapped bundles of cocaine. And here our unsuspecting Bruce is going to go deliver them. So this sets up a wacky cross-country romp of unknowingly delivering pounds of cocaine, and we also establish that there's a rival in the mob that's going to try to kill Bruce and the driver, as well as the local crew in each city where they're stopping because they're encroaching on their territory. So, yeah, we're set up for a good one here. Oh, as well as the local crew. And that's not to mention the police, who we see early and often. And those interactions are great. Gives us some classic lines. The cop comes up and says, is this car registered? And Bruce says, no, this car Oldsmobile. I mean, this guy, he just fucking, he's just killing.
I like Bruce.
He's great. Let's see. So they also get arrested for something totally unrelated to their giant cocaine heist, and they land in jail where they inexplicably let Bruce take the package of flour that he didn't even have on him at the time he was arrested into the cell with him. So here we again get him offering to cook with this 20-pound brick of blow that he just carries around with him everywhere he fucking goes. The chauffeur who's been driving him tries to stop him because he knows what's going on. They fight, the bag rips open, and a fan blows it everywhere. And everyone gets really happy. Except for the guard. The guard gets mad. So mad that he decides he's going to let everyone go. Which makes as much sense as everyone acting drunk after inhaling this powder, which is what they do. The next scene, they're all driving in a car, fucking swaying around and singing. Like, yeah, it's not just a generic, interchangeable intoxicant, guys. I think they should have brought in a cocaine consultant on this movie. They clearly don't know how it works. But yeah, that takes us through about the first hour. I don't want to give away too much and let you know what happens if Bruce makes it, if he gets to New York, if he finds this woman, and if this woman happens to be the Statue of Liberty the whole goddamn time. And they go out on the cheesiest joke. But this movie, it's definitely of a time. The racism is super mild, especially by early 80s standards. PG rating. mostly harmless, no real swears, lots of bad puns, and Johnny Yoon as Bruce actually makes the shitty jokes charming. It's dumb enough. The film quality is just bad enough. Johnny Yoon is just good enough, and it works for me. That's a large popcorn.
A large popcorn.
And I liked it on Tubi, so take that, algorithm. I gave it a big thumbs up.
I would guess that like a lot of movies on Tubi are not like ones that are like cinematically beautiful all the time.
Yeah.
And they have this quality to them. And thank God to you, Justin, for making this podcast and alarming Tubi. But there is a different style of, like, it really illustrates the style difference between where we are now and where we are then. Especially on the movie I watched today, like My Girl, which is a movie interpreting the 70s. They did a fucking knock-up job. Like, you know, like, that's, I don't know. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, let's get your ticket and get you in there.
Miss Veda Sultanfuss.
Tough break.
I like my name.
On love.
My mommy and daddy did that? Ew, gross.
On friendship.
I always surround myself with people who I find intellectually stimulating.
And the pursuit of happiness.
Have you ever kissed anyone? No.
My Girl.
Better not tell anyone. Better not either.
Rated PG.
Well, it sounds delightful.
Well, I mean, like, if you put the Temptations right in front of, like, the trailer, like, come on. Right? This was a very good movie.
Man, does that trailer only nail 2/3 of the movie? They leave out a big part of that movie in the trailer.
The whole movie. That's the whole point.
I know, but they left out a big part of this movie. What happens?
Well, then let's.
I'm really intrigued by what Justin thinks they left out. Anyway.
Before you get into your full review, Yikes, I gotta admit, I watched it as well when we revealed that you got it, because I had this revelation with you that I was like, how have you not seen this movie? It was of a time for me, and I want to hear. That's why I'm like super excited with this conversation, because I want to hear your interpretation of it, hearing it or watching the movie 33 years after it was made, but never seen it before. Whereas I know I've sat down and watched it now 3 times, start to finish, but it was always on TBS, TNT, or whatever. So I always caught bits and pieces movie for years and years and years, watching TV as a kid. So I've seen this movie over a dozen times, probably in its entirety, but never through more than 3 times. But so I'm interested to hear your take of someone who's never seen it versus me having this as a childhood nostalgic moment movie.
Well, that's really hard, Justin, and that's a good question, because I think the idea is that, like I told you, like 1991 was not the same idea of like watching things on TNT. Like I wasn't watching I was a junior in high school, and then I went to college when it went into reruns. Like I didn't watch that stuff. I was like into Tarantino and like trying to be dangerous, and I missed this movie entirely. Like, it's a very good movie. I asked my mom about it today, and she was like, oh my God, I love this movie. So there's a gap. Like, there's a gap there in some ways. Like, and movies do that.
Yeah, you were way too cool for that movie when it came out.
Correct. I thought I was too cool for that movie when it came out. Ron Hammer.
Dude, I'm younger than you, and I'm in the same boat.
Well, but what I'm saying,
watch that shit.
Yeah, it was advertised as an emotional, touching movie, romantic drama, comedy. That in 1991, I was not watching any of that.
Right.
Like, so I get why I missed it. But I like how I got it now. Like it's a good movie. Like that's a very good movie. Like no doubts.
All right, so let's get to review so we can share notes here in my mind.
Well, I didn't do it the same way as Ron. So my summary was this. It's a touching story of death for both adults and kids. It hit me hard. It was 1991. 1991 was child acting was still like a weird thing. Like, I don't think we were still on the cusp of that. That's not true because we went way back with that. But like 1990s, like child acting was a strange place. And I would also say that like Veda, and I will look her name up, was exceptionally better than Macaulay Culkin 1 year after he did Home Alone.
I had this same note to rewatching this, where I was like, "How is Macaulay Culkin so bad in this movie when he's so
bad
great?
In this movie?" Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to make sure I was no on this. I was like, was watching. I was like, Macaulay Culkin is terrible. And like he is. I was like, this is a year after again Home Alone, which say what you want about it. It's a nostalgic classic. It's a holiday favorite. It's just he is great in it, but he is terrible in this movie until
Okay.
Until the end.
Until he gets, until he's dead by bees.
Before that part, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
And this also is kind of like you said, right after Home Alone, where we had kind of reached saturation with him. A lot of the country was sick of this kid by then. So then to follow it
1 year later.
Yeah.
Oh,
they burned out on him quick.
Home Alone was in the theaters for 7 or 8 months. They kept on running it because it kept on being number one. So that movie was in the theater forever.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, I didn't know that.
First movie. Good for him.
This is a trivia question about the first child actor getting $1 million. And it was My Girl for Macaulay Culkin because it was after Home Alone.
Oh, my God. Well, anyway.
Trivia night's coming up soon.
I can speak on the greater deal of this movie, but like I think that one of the things, first of all, is that I said within 5. Okay, my first note was didn't have my bingo card that jaundice and hemorrhoids would be referenced in the first the first 2 minutes. I'm calling
it. It's like first 10 seconds.
Yeah. And then later, she's a totally hypochondriac.
I have some thoughts about her condition.
Oh, wow. Okay, Dr. Justin.
No, I want to say, and there's nothing wrong with it, obviously. I want to say she was portraying someone on the spectrum with her hypochondria.
Wow. I don't want to say she's portraying something in the spectrum.
Well, like in today's terms, that's what it'd be, right? But they didn't know how to portray it there. Where, like,
I was going to say autism. Okay.
But the spectrum goes from like Asperger's to autism. There's difference. That's why I said spectrum. So it could be anywhere in that realm.
Yeah, if you'd have said autism in 1991, it would have been what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Shit. No joke, Joe.
But like when she gets trapped in the basement, she starts singing the song "Do What Did It."
Yep.
So she has those mannerisms where it seems like that's what they're trying to portray. But again, they don't want to mention it because they're like, it's a faux pas back then to talk about that kind of stuff. So
can I comment?
That's what I meant by that, though.
Can I comment on that scene? She gets trapped in the basement. How?
She drops the ball down the steps and.
She's playing basketball with the only black person in that movie, and she's playing like the guy's saying "look up," and then they do a handshake, and then she loses the ball and it goes downstairs. I'm sorry, but like that was a moment where I was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, are we doing 1991 or are we doing the 70s?
We're talking watching this movie.
The movie was based in the 70s, though.
I know, but like it's still kind of funny. Like, where did that come from?
I mean,
like only black guys know how to basketball and or do a handshake.
Well, properly, yeah. I mean,
All right.
I still got that on the board from.
Oh,
Bruce.
thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
I feel better now.
Dan Aykroyd's acting in the movie is great.
Jamie Lee Curtis is
Jamie
so
Lee
hot
Curtis.
in that movie. Oh my!
Thank
God.
you. I was not the only one. I was like, man, this is peak Jamie Lee.
I mean, and I also
that and True Lies.
One of my first notes is this. Where is it? I have so many notes. Oh my God, this is insane. Jamie Lee and Aykroyd are going to so smash again, trading places in parentheses. Right? Yeah. They're going to smash again.
But here's the thing. She is throwing herself at him left and right, and Dan Aykroyd is completely clueless to what she's doing.
Yeah, but he's like a damaged man.
Very damaged, which is why he's got a very damaged daughter. Again, his mom, she grew up without a mom, and they fucking live in a funeral home. Like, they are screwed up.
Well, that's my other note is that, like, did you actually live in a funeral home as in the 70s? Because, like, that doesn't seem correct.
Oh, it does. 100%.
No.
My mom worked.
No way.
My mom worked in a funeral home, and it was a family business. So before everything went, I don't want to say corporate, but before everything got like, but like,
corporate.
What I'm saying is like, you know, the whole mom and pop shop thing, like before, like kind of once it got like
before you had those corporate bodies behind you, like down in the basement.
Funeral, yeah.
There's some stories about that fucking funeral. There's stories about that funeral home, man. But no, like they would live upstairs of the funeral home and come downstairs when business hours are in. They would go back upstairs when it's time for bed. When business is done. So yeah, you absolutely lived in a funeral home back in the day.
Yeah, but you didn't go down like and see the bodies.
I mean, I'm sure they did.
If you wanted to.
Kids are adventurous and they want to look. They're curious. So I'm not saying all kids would, but I'm sure there's fucking some kids are that.
Listen, you don't even talk to me about like what kids do. I was a kid once.
We were poking bodies with sticks left and right back in my day, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Ron is right.
I'm just, but you were like saying, dude, go down the dead bodies.
I'm like, yeah, they wasn't down bodies.
Use kids want to poke a body with a stick?
Is that a raccoon or is that my neighbor?
What you got?
Damn it! You just triggered me.
You heard the word cigarette. I got smoke. I got smoke.
No, mid-review, I did it.
What else you got notes wise? I know there's some notes in here.
Okay, I have a ton. All right. So I summarize that movie. It's very beautiful. It's the idea. I mean, it's the idea of like how children and adults deal with death differently, especially in that context, and how like people come into your life and they are warming parts of you, growing, and like, being better. Like that movie is beautiful. Like I have no issues with that at all. I'm lucky I got on the thread with that. Jamie Lee Curtis is so goddamn hot. This whole movie, I cannot believe it. She shows up at Dan Aykroyd.
She had on.
Woo! Yeah, Dan Aykroyd is like, are you sure you should wear this at my place of business? And she's like, well, this is what I wear. And I'm like, hell yeah. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, she's a beautiful actress and a beautiful woman. God bless her almighty. Yeah. So Macaulay Culkin sounds like he looks like a member of Weezer when we first see him. Fucking Buddy Holly era. Oh shit, we're in the 1970s. Vada has on jorts and denim shirt on, Canadian tuxedo. Wait, they were doing an autopsy in the basement of a residential home? People did in society? The 70s? What the fuck? The logic to taking a funeral home job. Everybody dies. Okay, so it's Dean Cameron from Chainsaw from summer school fixing up a house he just bought. He got his life all turned around. Okay, Chainsaw from summer school was the summer school teacher in this movie.
Oh, okay. I remember that dude now. I know what you're saying.
And she had a crush on Chainsaw.
I mean, that lock of hair, those locks of hair, man, they were flowing.
What are you talking about? Like chainsaw?
Yeah, he had a gorgeous head of lettuce.
Never. Okay, if your grandma is laying like somewhat like if I'm ever laying like deeply into a chair and like I'm gone, never play a tuba in front of me.
Darren
Never
Aykroyd
do
was
that.
playing the
It's not
shit out of
helping.
that tuba, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that thing, like
Yeah.
come on. Like
Put that in
let's not do
writing.
this.
He's within 5 inches of her face, blasting
Like
that
right in
tuba
front of her fucking
just in her
face.
face. Just here, mom, eat it.
Like, hey mom, you have Alzheimer's. Let me play a tuba 5 inches in front of your face. Good God. There's a line that says, heaven is everyone gets a white horse and eats marshmallows all day. That's decent.
That's
Yeah,
an interesting
I like that.
take. Yeah.
I also think that like Harry's brother looks like Perry Como with a mustache in 1970, and he's talking about modern women.
Oh yeah, this conversation is funny. It's a good conversation.
Yeah, that's a big one. He's not doing well on this.
Because the setup of women don't wear bras.
Yeah. Or they don't want to have the door open for them. Or any sort of like
he's trying to do the whole thing like it was like popular. It was like treat women like assholes and they want you more. But this guy was way ahead of his time because that.
Well, I keep like that's the thing that you have to keep thinking about. It's 1990. It's not 1991. It's 1970. Like what? 5?
It was mid-70s. Yeah, it was mid-70s. It took place.
So, I will again go back to the fact that like Veda just wears the jorts Canadian tuxedo all the time in this movie, and I think I'm going to do that this year. It's a good look.
Yeah.
Just jorts with like a denim shirt on, like from Levi's.
Fuck yeah.
Denim.
Maybe like some Vans on the bottom, like like a top hat of not a top hat, like just a hat.
I mean,
right,
maybe
Ron?
a top hat. I don't know. I'm not saying
you help me
not a
with this?
top hat.
Not a top hat.
I'm not.
It's like a trucker hat or something.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
She
All right, I can
really
get
pulled
behind
off.
that.
I think the casting of this like movie was really good, and I think the way they dressed everybody was really good because it really did remind me of the 70s. Like it's not a fake movie in that way. Like they did a good way of just putting cheap clothing on people, I think, and it looked good. And it reminds me of my earlier life as a poor child. So anyway.
Especially Jamie Lee Curtis in that jumpsuit.
I mean, I could have gone off for like an hour and a half on Jamie Lee Curtis.
Each
like,
outfit,
good
man.
God. Good
Each
God.
outfit.
She is so like one of the sexiest women, just throwing that out there. She's awesome. She also like banged Dan Aykroyd twice.
All right, we got
Ron,
more notes. Or
Ron, you
up
don't have a
to,
sounder for that? Come on.
I don't. I don't have a
Okay.
Hit the
banging Dan
reverb of
Aykroyd.
she banged twice.
Yes. Repeat Aykroyd action. That's all I got.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Get it in post.
I do think that like it's a very weird moment in this like heartwarming film for the child to say, "Did I kill my mother during childbirth?" I mean, I'm just saying, like that's her thing.
I mean, it touches on the point that Dan Aykroyd's not sure what he's doing still, obviously, of the 11-year-old daughter. Like, you know, he's raising the daughter by himself, never really had a mother or, I mean, a woman figure in the household. He doesn't know how to handle the situation. And, like, you know, they never had that talk. Like, why did mom die? But then, like, once she found out, like, she died giving birth, like, and again, she's obsessed with death in this movie, so she's got to ask the question. But yeah, again, she doesn't know the tact to ask that question. She just comes in with it raw, like, "Hey, did I kill mommy?" Like,
I think generally the question about this whole movie is that, like, when somebody that you are close to dies in your family, you always find ways to blame it on yourself, even if you're an 11-year-old child. Like, it's just death is a weird thing to wrap your head around.
I,
And I think that, like, this movie actually really helped me. Uh, it's it's kind of funny, like in a weird way. Um, but like it does discuss the ultimate issues of which death is not a simple concept to wrap your head around at all. No, no matter how strong you think you are, like it's not.
and I think that's really, really, really well portrayed in the movie. Because again, Beta
Yes,
grew up in a nursing home or a funeral home, and is around dead bodies all the time. She brings kids in, gives them a quart or whatever. Now, granted, it's a prank or whatever that she does on her, but she's obviously seen dead bodies before. But when it comes to personal matters and it comes to the dead bodies, I don't even spoil that part of it. That part of the movie, the way she reacts to it's so different, totally different.
totally.
It's
Yep.
she thinks it's his fault or she thinks it's her fault. Just like she thought, then that makes her think about her mom. And that's her fault. She never thought about that until she actually had to experience it firsthand. Someone close. Again, she's always around it, and it didn't matter to her that there's dead bodies. But then it's her. It's someone personal to her, and it just changes everything.
Well said. Perfectly said, man.
And again, it's
Like,
like it's portrayed so well in that movie. It's the scene that everyone remembers in the movie the most is her reaction to it finally, because it's so well done. Because I remember when I first saw my grandmother dead, I was like, she looks like she's sleeping. Like I didn't think anything
right.
about it. Just like I saw that like I just felt like she was different, and just like she knows he was different. So the first time you see death that someone's close to you, it's definitely a different feeling.
I remember screaming at the hospital about my dad when he was dying and being like, he's never going to be coming back. And that reality is such a huge thing that, like, when you see movies like this and like people who are, I don't know how to explain this, but like, it's just really helpful. Like, to see, like, oh, this happens in life,
Right.
like generally. So. Yeah, man, I'm really lucky that.
So, what would you? How would you rate this on a scale of popcorns?
I would say it's a large, very good movie, touching. Post Macaulay Conklin, Home Alone. By the way, he was an awful actor in this until the very end, until he got killed by bees. He was a very interesting, soft take on the idea of like having to deal with death. Also, I do not understand how people had dead people in their basement in 1970s as a house.
Yeah, there's my brother's buddy lived in one in the 90s, not far from Mom's house. They lived upstairs all the way through high school.
But I think it's time for my movie review. My turn. So this movie, again, I mentioned, is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Now I know he's got a lot of bangers. He's got Trading Places. He's got Coming to
Beverly Hills
America,
Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. I was a big fan of his since Beverly Hills Cop. Again, Trading Places that I've seen. All the movies that lead up to this. I would say this movie kind of is the start of the downfall, because even though some people have some mixed feelings on Nutty Professor and Dr. Little, I like those movies. It was right in my wheelhouse at the age I was at, so I found them enjoyable movies. Some people might say those were kind of the downfall of his, but I think this is right where the start of it is. He's great in this movie, but this is also starting off the run of fucking Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson has a run of movies, pretty much starting with this movie. A little bit before here, like he did Shanghai Noon, he did Meet the Parents, and then he went into this movie, and he had Starsky and Hutch afterwards. He had the Wedding Crashers after. He had a run, and then you go into the Cars franchise. Owen Wilson has had a great career, but of course, I'm talking about the 2002 comedy I Spy.
Are you saying that, like, that Eddie Murphy launched Owen Wilson's career?
No. I'm just saying this movie kind of started because like I know he was Meet the Parents and before this, and he had Zoolander before this, but this is like right at the beginning, like 2 years after all those movies, and then he has a run after this because again, you have the Cars franchise, which has made billions of dollars now. Like he's been making money for a lot of.
They're not your typical partners.
Special Agent Alex Scott. Meet Kelly Robbins. MOB 009.5. Ooh, boy.
They're not your usual heroes.
I'm starting to regret this. That was a big explosion. Yeah.
But on November 1st,
That's cool.
they're the only man for the job.
Let's go do this then. It's worth billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. You hear this guy?
I Spy.
He's still a bad guy, right? Well, everybody keeps flip-flopping around. I can't keep it straight.
Rated PG-13.
That nails it right there. But
Okay.
that'll do it for me. No, I don't. Was talking to Ron about this, so I was kind of afraid this would happen. It kind of did. I thought I had 3 days to watch this, but again, I have this movie on V8 or DVD, so it's not a big deal. But I wanted to get it in Tubi, its time frame. But apparently, Tubi has a weird timing. Generally, when it says 3 days, I kind of think it means midnight of that third day. No, it stopped being a thing at like 2:00 in the afternoon on the third day. So I don't know what time schedule they're on.
Whenever we get around to it, if Carl sleeps in that day, you get
I hate
noon.
to say this, but that is literally to be determined.
Oh,
I paused it. I paused it at 2:00 in the afternoon, going to my.
Ron, give me the. Come on, Ron.
He gave me the sound there. He gave me that. He said it sound there.
I want it twice.
I paused it at 2:00 in the afternoon, and then I was like, I'll finish watching it that night, and it was off at some point in that time frame. I was like, oh, I should be still able to watch this, but don't worry, don't fret. I can finish it on my DVD player because I have a DVD. Because this start of my junior year, end of my sophomore year of high school. So this is like right up my wheelhouse of comedy. I remember going to theater and seeing this. I was flicking quarters at my buddy who was on a date. I was just trying to interrupt their good time to tell them to keep watching the movie. So again, nostalgia plays a huge factor in this. Me and my buddy of a long time, we still quote this movie to get today some lines. So there's definitely some nostalgia factor, and it, for the most part, it holds up to my nostalgia. It starts off on a mission in Uzbekistan. Top of the mountain, says the title card, which is pretty funny. Alex, Owen Wilson, is looking for some pilot named Percy at a detention camp. He locates him, gets a phone call, then drops his phone and goes to pick it up and steps on some soft ice / snow, causing an avalanche. Description card now reads, bottom of the mountain. Comedy. He pulls the pilot out of the snow. He has a broken leg, but won't tell Alex what he did with the stolen plane. But then he hears the Russians coming, so he grabs his broken leg and he screams that he sold it to the Gundars. So Gundars is actually one person. It's really weird that his last name is pluralized in this movie, but he's only one person. So now they're running from the Russians, and even though this guy's a broken leg and he's carrying him on his back, Alex still has some time to set up a jacket decoy that the Russians shoot. Like how he was able to elude them fast enough and take off his jacket so he can set it up. I don't know, but movie magic, I guess.
Great decoy maker, yeah.
So they make it to the chopper that's coming to get them, but then Percy gets shot.
By the way, Decoy Maker is a great band name.
Put it in the Discord.
Decoy Maker.
Sorry, Jesse. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. So they make it to the chopper, but then Percy gets shot. Alex is not very good at this job. So cut to Las Vegas, where we're introduced to Kelly Robinson, a.k.a. Eddie Murphy. And he's a boxer being brought into the ring in a golden cage, which is badass. He's like 5 people carrying him on each side, and he's in a golden cage. He rips it open and takes a step into the ring. So the commentators, there's some commentator exposition here where they tell us that he's 56-0, and if he defends his title tonight, he'll defend it again Thursday in Budapest. That's an ambitious fighter right there, to fight it on Sunday and then on Thursday.
Man.
So of course, to keep up the image of Kelly Robinson, Kelly hits him with a mean-ass uppercut, knocking him out in the first round. So then we cut to Kelly's getting a tattoo, a tally mark on his left arm, or his right arm actually, to signify 57 wins on his arm. And he gets a phone call from the president. And the guy on the phone is doing a C-level George W. Bush impersonation. And I said this. Now think about 2002. Who could possibly do a George Bush voice?
Wow.
Be anybody.
It can't be anybody. Like, that's somebody special.
Farrell.
There it is. Will Ferrell was the voice on the other end doing a George Bush.
Good job.
And I feel really bad of saying that was a C-level George W.B., given the fact that he was pretty much one of the most famous bits he does was being George W. Bush in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he did a full fucking show as Bush, like a one-man. Yeah, it was.
So I don't know if it was the audio quality they were trying to portray the phone call that made it sound like B-level or C-level, but once I saw that in the trivia, I was like, oh god, I really feel bad for writing this note.
Maybe he just didn't have it down yet.
Like he did. Oh, okay.
All right. It gets better.
But during the phone call,
time goes on and George W. gets better.
Yeah.
No, Farrell.
Just the voice, not the person.
I think I heard Farrell.
Farrell's imitation of him.
Farrell is good. Okay,
gets better as he goes. Yeah.
So on the phone call of fake George W. Bush, aka Will Ferrell, Kelly is asking what's going on. He's like, nothing, dog. Chilling with Putin. I'm like, well, I'm glad to see nothing's changed with the presidency here.
Right.
So the president needs him on a mucho hush-hush operation, and that's America needs him. And the girl next to him's like, ooh, like 007? And you heard in the clip, he's like, I'm going to be 009.5.
Penis joke.
The girls do not get the joke, by the way. They have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, wow.
Hey, phrasing!
So now we go to the BNS headquarters, and no, we're not in NSA or CIA, but BNS. That means the Bureau of National Defense. They couldn't even get a real legal or government agency.
You don't want to piss those guys off.
Every other movie you can say FBI or CS or CIA, but no,
these guys.
not these guys. Turns out he's getting assigned to Budapest as well. I wonder what this could mean in the future.
Oh, wow.
So as he's at the BNS, we find out that he has a really big thing for Rachel, but he can't talk to her since he's such a bumbling idiot surfer boy, because that's what Owen Wilson always plays.
Right.
She's the woman he's talking to suggests going to talk to Carlos, another agent, because they were in a stakeout for 2 weeks and she couldn't walk straight for 2 weeks. Right on cue, as she says that, here comes Carlos, aka fake Antonio Banderas, and he's introduced with none other than a Latin guitar and a strum and maracas playing.
Oh yeah.
you have to establish this is a Hispanic character. The woman is clearly smitten by Carlos as he leaves, and Alex gets all upset and he's like, "You know he's a phony, right? He's from Iowa, you know that." all while this is happening, they're at you've seen James Bond movies, you've seen Austin Powers, so they're doing a whole bunch of gadget testing behind them in the background. So then, of course, now since it's a spy movie, we gotta give Owen Wilson his spy kit, and he goes up to the spy kit and he's all impressed. And he's like, "No, that's not your spy kit. That's Carlos's spy kit." So Carlos gets all the nice new sleek version and everything, whereas Alex gets what he describes as the 1972 Radio Shack versions. References in this movie. And he's like, have you seen the size of this thing? He's like, size matters, but in spy world it's reverse. People want to say, look how Alex managed to steal some of the stuff from Carlos's kit. And then Alex is now being briefed on the mission that they're looking for the plane that the pilot stole. in the beginning of the movie, and so with the Gundars. It's called the Switchblade, and it has this cloaking feature that makes it invisible to the eye and radar, which is pretty cool. He asks her, "Where's Rachel?" But she is already in Budapest setting up the site, so he mentions that twice. That this is going to be a classic stakeout situation. He's told, "No, it isn't." Man, Alex really wants to fuck Rachel bad. So he's told he'll be working with a civilian in this case, right? And he needs cover to get into the Gundar's party. And wouldn't you know it, Gundar is a huge boxing fan, and you guessed it, he'll be working with none other than Kelly Robinson, aka not Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy, and his cover. He's going to be his cover getting into the party. So obviously, Kelly Robinson can go do his thing at the party, and make sure that Owen Wilson can gain access. So they meet at the airport, and they're about to board the plane when Kelly's two assistants are trying to make a hotel reservation. But since they don't speak Hungarian where they're going, they don't know what she's talking about. So Alex takes over, says he knows Hungarian, and then asks them what kind. Do they want the junior suite or the high roller suite? Of course, they were like, "Yeah, give me the high roller suite." But since Owen Wilson knows what he's doing, he books them the cheapest room in the hotel in the basement.
Well, I just don't understand what you're talking about. Like, that whole scene is so weird to me.
Well, they're going to Budapest so they can go to see Gundar. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm a dude living in rural Spokane.
I just crack up every time I hear Gundar. I don't know why. I love it. I'm gonna get a beer.
That's really fun.
Gundar, by the way, Ron, is played by Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Perfect villain.
Gundar. Yeah.
Perfect villain.
That's who I think of when I hear Gundar.
All right, so
I think Ron is totally lying, by the way.
Malcolm McDowell is in A Clockwork Orange. He's in Halloween as Dr. Sam Loomis.
My God! That dude?
Yeah. Well, the new Halloween movies as Sam Loomis. He's also he's a Bond villain in one of the Pierce Brosnan movies.
He's always like a really bad-looking character, right?
Oh, yeah. Always
like
has the short, spiky hair with the, and then he always has like just the glare that he's going to kill someone.
What was the first movie you referenced? It was
Clockwork Orange.
Yep, that's the one. Ron, you've seen that?
No.
What? You've never seen Clockwork Orange?
No, me and Justin could go head to head with stuff we haven't seen.
We are battling it out here.
It would be a battle, yeah. some night when we're really slow on the pod, we'll have to do that.
So this kind of like translates into what we were talking about with the movie you watched in 1991, My Girl, is that when I was in this phase, like during that era, where Clockwork Orange was like, oh, let me watch all the weirdest movies of all time. That was one of them. Clockwork, you should see that movie. That movie is nuts. It's probably one of the most artistically well done movies of all time. There's also something called The Seventh Seal by Ingrid Bergman. That movie was probably made in like 1970 something. What I'm saying is that, like, seeing art that doesn't make sense anymore is like one of the best things you can do to yourself. Like, it really is. Those movies changed me. Like, ultimately,
I need to experience this movie. I've heard good things.
Those movies are really good. Like, they're really challenging movies. Like, they're really weird art. I mean, if you want to get out of weird art, you can immediately because you can watch these movies. But some of those are really good.
It's Kubrick, man. Kubrick's amazing. All right, so while they're on the plane, he gives Kelly these special contacts. Alex gives Kelly these special contacts that are cameras so he can see what he sees, vice versa. So there's a joke, and I think the extended is like, I see me looking at you, looking at me. And just the way he delivered it is just fucking perfect. So all while doing this, he's trying to get Kelly to come to the Gundar party at 8 o'clock. That's when the time starts. Get there at 8 o'clock. And he's like, no, fuck that. You know, I'm Kelly Robinson. I'm not showing up. I'm showing up at 11. So he's like, all right, well, if that's what you say. So he goes. So again, while wearing the contacts, he goes to the captain, like, hey, what's our flying altitude? So and then he stabs the captain with a dart, tranquilizes him. Oh shit, the plane's about to crash, right? So now he's trying to convince Kelly, you gotta come at 8, otherwise we die. Come at 8, we're dying. And of course, film noir, he knows how to fly a plane, so there was never any real danger, but he got him to do what he got to do anyway. So, and then they get to the hotel. Again, they're pissed off. They're in the basement. But then they go outside the hotel before the party. We're introduced to this really sexy Fanny Kelly Robinson who wants to take him back to her hotel room. And Alex's like, no, you really shouldn't do that before she goes away. Because you're in a strange land. You can't just go off with some random woman. Just happens to be at the hotel right away. So he starts to get and Alex says, don't do anything. Yeah.
This is going to be really weird for me to say, but like, I'm very single. Why can't you go out with a random woman?
I'm not saying you can't go out with a random woman, but there's some girl like just happens to walk by you and say, hey, come to my hotel. That's a little sketch.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah. That's like that chick with Bruce giving him the necklace. It's a recording device. Oh.
So again, they start to walk away, and when you
I would like a random woman just coming up to me and being like, "Hello." That's it. Nothing else.
And then you can give her your card and like, I'm just here to talk, and then you guys can hit it off.
Oh yeah, I'll totally give her our Twitter handle after that. We'll see.
Go
ahead, Justin.
They start walking away, and of course, when you know it, they get abducted, and so Alex is right.
Oh, great! Wow, that is
he's on a chair and he's getting tortured about the mission. The sexy lady is threatening to cut off his dick if he doesn't tell her what she wants.
Shit.
Jesus Christ!
He's like, don't go straight to the Johnson. Why go straight to the Johnson? You cut a fingernail first or whatever. But she's like, no, cut off his penis. But then film noir, it's Rachel, the BNS agent that Alex is in love with so much, and the whole crew is in on it. It was a test. So Kelly then now finally gets briefed in the mission because he's finally introduced, he's indoctrined to this situation. So it's revealed that the plane can cloak. He's like, that's the leafy bug. And they're like, what? The leafy bug. I saw it on the Discovery Channel, which is a great reference because we don't watch Discovery Channel anymore. But it's a bug that can, disguise itself as a leaf, as a self-defense mechanism. That's about a half hour in this movie. There's about another hour in this movie. Like I said, they go because I do want people to see this movie if they haven't seen it because it's again nostalgia classic for me, but I still find it really funny. So again, they go to the party. Kelly's asked to create diversion. Shenanigans happen, shootouts and whatnot, explosions. After that they tell Rachel. This is the part where me and my friend really quote a lot to each other. So they tell Rachel to go take a nap. They had a long day of spying stuff and whatever. We haven't slept in 36 hours. So you go take a nap. And Kelly's like, nah, go in there and talk to her. I'll put the contacts in. We can do this thing together. So he gives her Kelly Robinson's rap, where Kelly Robinson's rap is just he sings sexual healing to a girl, and that's how he gets the girl to go into bed with him. And so me and my buddies always would literally just randomly come out there, rising. And that's what he's like, I feel this love, right? And that's one of the lines he sings in the song. And then we'll just like, if we ever say we need some healing, we'll be like, sexual healing. Like the way Owen Wilson sings it in this is because like obviously like Eddie Murphy can sing a little bit, so he's got this like tone to him. He's singing it, and then his Owen Wilson delivers like sexual healing. Like he can't sing a note. The only thing I will
dispute about this is that Eddie Murphy is not a good singer.
He's not great, but he knows the
Stan. He knows the cadence or something. Like, what are you going to say?
What I'm saying, my point is, he does. Owen Wilson does not, and it's done really greatly. So again, he can see what she's seeing. Of course, she's like, "Yeah, I've always had a crush on you too," and she starts taking, she takes the blanket off. Boom, there's panties, and then as he starts talking more, she starts taking her shirt off. But then, Owen Wilson clicks the little clicker. Kelly Robinson can't see anymore what's going on at. Bummer. We don't get to see. We don't get to see titties. Which most of our movies have included in this podcast run. They did not include them here.
that's true.
They follow Gundar to a bathhouse. Another shootout happens. Someone does or doesn't get blown up. People die. Our heroes then eventually have the second act breakup, which eventually leads to the third act makeup, classic kind of stuff. Kelly Robbins gets to the fight eventually, gets knocked down because he has a contact in his eye still. Alex is being tortured at the end of the movie. Gets up. Kelly Robbins gets up, KOs the guy, and then comes out and helps Alex. And then at the very end of the movie, you heard in the clip in the trailer, is he a spy? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? There's a whole bunch of agent, double agent, pseudo agent stuff, really normal spy stuff at the end. There's some film noirs at the end too. There's some twists and turns. I want you guys to see it, so I'm not going to fully spoil it for you. Again, the first 30 minutes of it, I gave you good detail about this. And since, again, it's a nostalgic thing for me, Ron, I still find it really funny. And, again, I think this is where, because it's just around the Shrek time for Eddie Murphy. Other than Shrek, his movies kind of fall off from this point. But this is peak Eddie Murphy for me. Again, almost in a run here. Famke Janssen, I can see her all day long. Again, I remember going to see this in the theater, loving it. Still love it today. This is an extra large popcorn.
Extra large popcorn!
Wow.
We had a great run today. Two extra larges in this on these movies.
Yep.
Again, I'm super fascinated by your takes on My Girl, because, like I said, when you got it, I texted you. I was like, I've been toying with the notion of watching it because it comes up on Tubi as a recommendation every now and then, and I want to see how nostalgia will play into it because I remember the scene so well.
Well,
I cried at the end. I cried at the end. I cried a couple times
totally.
at the end.
I cried about that, and that movie is awesome, and it's very unique in the way that I don't know. I told you about this. I wasn't watching that style of movie in '91 at all.
Rightfully so at your age.
So but it's a beautiful movie. It's complex.
It's been
this movie.
At least 20, if not 25 years since I've even seen a clip of this movie other than the one scene. So
the child actor in that movie was really, really good, and she didn't do anything after that. So that's weird.
Yeah, some people just don't have it in them.
Oh, well, I get that totally, and I like that, but it's just weird. So people sometimes are on the level of Macaulay Culkin, and they just decide to go to college
after doing copious amounts of drugs.
That's okay. That's reckless.
No, he's admitted to being he was a drug addict.
I'm saying her.
Oh, I thought you said Macaulay Culkin.
No, she didn't do anything after that, at all.
Oh, I always thought we were talking about Macaulay Culkin. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely a known druggie.
Well, true.
Rightfully so in that case, too. Ron, are you ready to reveal your next movie?
Yeah, we kind of hastily threw this one together, so I'm not sure how many of these. Hopefully, we don't land on any that's a TV show. But
I've seen 2 of your movies, Hellboy, which I thought was a terrible movie, so hopefully you get that, and Double Take, which I mentioned in the Discord that Orlando Jones had a run there for a minute at that time where he did Double Take, Evolution, and Replacements, all back to back to back. So that's again, I haven't seen the movie since it came out. I think I saw it in the theaters. So,
and I have a lot of repeats coming on here that I keep seeing on my list that I never land on. So
I feel like, again, your movies are cemented on your to watch list because they're never going to leave Tubi. They're not going to go anywhere else, and they know your algorithm. So,
and I haven't watched them. Maybe once I do, they're
just waiting for you to click on that play,
right?
Or click on it and leave it for long enough that it starts playing by itself because that's the TV feature.
Yeah, love that.
All right, let's see what you get.
All right, no whammies, no whammies. Come on, you motherfucker.
Whammies. It totally reminds me of No Whammies.
Oh, I don't know what this is.
All right, So I guess it's my turn to reveal what I'll be watching next. And
I guess.
Again, Cinephobe is a theme here. Teen Witch is on here on my list.
Yep.
They
Teen
know.
Witch. Oh my God.
They know my algorithm very well here, apparently. And apparently, since I just watched My Girl, I get a Richie Rich movie with Scott Macaulay Culkin in it. So apparently, they want me to watch more Macaulay Culkin. The remake of Rollerball's in here. Again,
Yeah,
Cinephobe
I might be into that. Like, yeah, totally.
But there's a movie on this list that I'm
space on there.
Richie
Yes.
Rich.
There's a movie on this list that I'm not going to reveal right now that I will be watching regardless if it lands on it or not, because I've been wanting to rewatch it for a long time. So let's see if it lands on it so I can get the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
All right. Oh, shit. So close.
There we go.
So
Here we go, my
close.
friend.
God damn it. Steve Gittenberg. Steve Gittenberg.
I love him.
He's in this movie.
80s guy.
Man.
Steve Guttenberg, I mean, just loved him in Three Men and a Baby. Loved him in all the Police Academy movies. Fantastic. And then he did Short Circuit, too. Yeah, he was in Short
Oh,
Circuit.
yeah. Shit. Forgot about that. Having a moment.
Which I just bought on VHS because it's an amazing movie. Johnny number 5. Cut that. Problematic,
saw
probably.
That in the theater, yeah.
I don't like my movie. Fuck.
I'm
mad
looked
I'm
mine
sorry.
up, yeah.
I'm mad it's a movie I already saw, but it's been a few years since I've seen it, so I'm pretty sure my take on it will be no different. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for Yikes getting in on here and reviewing a nostalgia movie of mine, of my youth. And then, yeah.
Thank you for letting me cry through a movie and come on podcast and try to disassociate myself from that. But, like, yes, thank you.
And that's going to do it. Keep watching those terrible movies on Tubi. It keeps our algorithm going.
You're listening to
To be determined.
on the Half-Ass Podcast Network.